or at least they have the appearance of jurisdictions enough to make you uncomfortable for a while. But don't nobody want to voluntarily be uncomfortable where they can control it for a little while to be free for eternity. So they all want to go along to get along with the system.
This next one, which is pretty much the last question that I had typed up, if anybody had like maybe 2 or 3 more, a matter of fact, there was one in the comments. So why do our men promote rape culture in jail?
Because they gay. Seriously, when you can't promote something that ain't part of who you are. I don't support rape culture. I did 16 years. I don't fuck with boys.
Yeah, real men ain't promoting that shit.
Yeah, the ones that's pushing that shit is gay.
There you go. Who said that? I'm not even about to butcher your name. This question was, if I file a 1099, does that mean I'm back in contract?
Yep. You're contracting with the Internal Revenue Service. Those are internal documents. Right? But the 1099 before January the 4th was the smartest course of action to navigate the contract. Now that the contract is up, we don't want none of it. See, we went from navigating the contract. This is what Taj was teaching us for so long, how to navigate the contract. Right? And if you understood what he was teaching, then you could have navigated the contract during its life. As of January the 4th, 2019, the contract ended. When the contract ended, now everybody that's trying to use the navigation process is actually making it worse for themselves because they recontracted with a dead entity.
Nobody saying nothing in the comments for any questions. So just to reflect back from the beginning, the declaration is nothing but the goodbye letter, letting us know if we step up, they just stepping out the way. And abandon the contract. Anything, Social Security, birth certificate, driver license, 1099s, W-2s, all that. Anything that links back to them, just abandon it.
Right. So the biggest entries that they using is the contract for education with the children, the contract for labor with the jobs, and the what they call judicial contracts, which is court claims. People calling the police on motherfuckers. Don't call the police on that nigga, beat his motherfucking ass.
If we live in Mexico, how can I cross my family into America without a passport?
Wait till you see the Three Kings, because we're gonna do away with that shit instantly. Because California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, all that's Mexico. That's all part of one land territory. That's part of the same territory. It wasn't until the Mexican-American War that they divided that up. And that's why Texas had to reserve the right to become an independent nation once the contract was up. So Texas can go back. It can divide up into as many as 5 nations.
Sheesh.
You know, that's going to stay in their contract. I mean, in their constitution of the state until it go back to territory. Right? The wealth of Mexico is equivalent of the wealth of the Middle East. Why are all those people starving?
Holy shit.
Just what you do. And this going to be good. This going to be a good little checkup. Check oil levels of Mexico, like oil production, mineral production, gross domestic product, gross national product. And you're going to be surprised. You're not going to understand why the people poor.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Equivalent to the Middle
Mexico is like one of
East?
the top 20 oil producing nations in the world.
I didn't know that. The only thing I knew was what, for like the past 50 years, the US been mining oil over here, but they can only
And they've been
borrow against
holding it in surplus. Right. So that's because they're not allowed to trade it because it ain't theirs, it's ours. And since they can't trade it, they had to hold it in reserve, and then they can borrow against it to run the government. We ain't supposed to be paying taxes. Taxes has nothing to do with us.
Yeah, that's robbery right there. Getting taxed on everything.
Well, the IRS was a private corporation with a board of directors that don't even live in this country.
What?
So we talking about taxation without representation. Wasn't that what the Boston Tea Party that set it all off was about?
Exactly. Damn.
Yeah, that was actually the Boston Tea Party was when they claimed we crashed into their ship with our landmass and captured us under admiralty law and used the squatters' rights to insert it beyond the 10 square mile jurisdiction of the disputed territory or the crash site dispute.
So even those affidavits are set up too, because this shit popping up everywhere about the bills process and
all you have to do, like we doing now on this live, is reserve all your rights in the public domain. It's time stamped and dated on social media. That's why we can use social media, right? Because even though you have to sign an agreement to access it, most of us accessed it before the contract expired, right? Once the contract expired, it notified all of the contracts that's contingent upon.
And that's like the things that we need to focus on, either really individually, because if we all individually are prepared, then as a community, we all have.
I want certain stuff. I want my children to want for it to the point where they feel that they can work for it and they can earn what it is that they don't have that they want. And that's going to teach them two lessons. Ain't nobody better than you, but you ain't better than nobody else. And if you see something that you really want, it's going to require you to perform or to do certain efforts in order to attain that. If you just want a motherfucker to pass you something because of who you is, then you in the wrong house. You better take your ass down the street. And that house of entitlement, yeah, they trading titles on that motherfucker on a regular basis.
That's a good one. You got all the good stuff.
So, yeah. So, so I don't want my children to be suffering with poverty. But I also don't want stuff so easy where they don't have no grit, where they can't bounce back from shit. These the softest motherfuckers I ever could imagine to be on earth right now in this time. When we grew up, we used to get ass whoopings and whoop ass.
But you know, it's that tablet. It's that phone. It's those video games that we, guilty as charged, tell them to go play on so we can have a moment instead of engaging with them. They're not outside having life experience with each other and interactions with each other. So we have to start doing that again. Like with my sons, when they come over, they get annoyed with me, but we're going to play a board game. And I know it seems real simple and like I'm not really teaching them life, but it's just even those interactions that build character and kind of build resolve and strategy. Just, something simple.
Look, when you sit them down to the board game next time, explain this to them. Life got rules, and ain't nobody going to teach them to you.
See, and that's the thing that I feel like.
Hold on. These board games is a game with a set of rules that can apply somewhere else in life later on if you learn the rules to this game. You practice it so that you understand how this game works. So when you see it play out in real life, you know how to win that game in real life. So you think we playing board games, but really I'm giving you tools to go in to the world and come out successful.
Mm.
This is why I'm teaching you how to play Monopoly, because it's always a motherfucker gonna try to monopolize on everything you do. So you need to be able to see the game before you ever learn how to play the game in business. So we teach you to play it in a board game,
Right.
right? And the more board games that you learn as a child, the more tools you have to navigate life with through the path of least resistance, meaning not getting beat to death by life.
Right. Even like with Connect Four, like just teaching them to slow down and look at what the play is going to be, trying to have like predictive, thought process or programming in a sense. Like, what is this person's strategy? That alone is a tool for life.
Yeah. See, like I like to tell my son about stories about people like Attila the Hun and Genghis Khan. They saying once upon a time it was this guy named Attila, and I'll go into like leadership strategies of Attila the Hun to share with him little things that can be given to him in story format at an early age that will sink into um, his mind to the point where it'll become part of his original program.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's a natural born strategist because he already know about Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, Hannibal, Muhammad Ahmed, you know what I'm saying, Shaka Zulu. He know about the great strategists of history at an early age because dad gave them to him as little stories to tell him while we was on our drive to go fishing.
Right. And he's gonna remember all of that information too. Like, we have to get back to storytelling, like, and really also like we have to get back to listening to the elders when they speak and not really, and not ignoring them or not being like, oh, I don't really rock with that elder because they look this way or that way. Like when
Right. Well, they weaponized the age. They created ageism
that too.
to make the youth think that the older people, oh, that old motherfucker don't know nothing. And the youth, and now the old people feel about the youth. Somebody need to go do something with them little wild ass motherfuckers. The disconnect come in because when, like I said the other day, I was telling a story about at Big Mama house. She got uncles that still stay there, old as hell. Probably left, got married, divorced, came back home to Big Mama house, right? But when it's time for the family to pass out the food, they have a harvest festival, which turns out to be a family reunion.
Hmm.
All of the women that's part of the cooking committee, they go straight to the kitchen.
Hmm.
All of the ones that's in charge with setting up the table and shit, they go straight to the dining room. Don't nobody got to tell them when they get out the car, they ain't seen each other in 5 years. They know exactly where to go.
Right.
Right? Because they done been to Big Mama house, they know how shit run. Right? If you don't know what to do, go ask your Aunt Ruby. She gonna send you down there to your Uncle Cleve, and he gonna take y'all where they clean the fish at and show y'all how to make sure y'all know how to clean some fish when y'all come back to Big Mama house next year. Right? So they use the family members to teach the history of the family around family functions. This is why they don't want us gathering. They don't want our families having family reunions. They discourage it because as soon as we figure out enough of us in one family, we ain't came on no goddamn boat. One of these niggas gonna say, hey, y'all contract is up. The date was this. We came back for every fucking thing you son of a bitches took plus motherfucking interest and tax, and you have to go now.
Mm.
And that's exactly what happened. Because since we didn't have a family reunion, I had to go live with different family members in order to get that part of the family's piece to the puzzle to put the family back together.
Mm.
So I went to stay with members of both sides of the family, my mama's side and my daddy's side. They all, I'm the most loved, most respected, or the most despised and most rejected.
Mm.
So since I'm the most loved and respected out of all of the motherfucking despised and rejected, that make me be the black sheep out of all of the black sheep that the black sheep love the most. And that's how you get to be a chief on the land.
But that's the other thing is like, because, okay, so how can I put this in words? We have to have enough humility to be able to see our elders and respect them as such, because
Yeah.
people are appointed for a reason in the season, and we have to. You have to respect that. You have to respect your position and play your position. And everybody's not a chief. Some of us are Indians, and you got to be okay with that. And you got to knock that jealousy out the window. And, you know, for anybody who doesn't have that big mama or that family to go to, then you got to start looking for those role models and elders to have that family reunion with.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of us hold on to childhood grudges that if you was an adult, you would have made a similar decision yourself,
Mm-hmm.
all things being considered. But people hold on to the childhood grudges.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, like, I don't blame a molested child for never forgiving their molester.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna never tell them to do that. But for the kid that got the ass whooped for being a little badass kid, you probably didn't get enough ass whoopings. That's probably why you ended up where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got no motherfucking sympathy for that shit. It's part of life.
But that's where accountability comes in, because you have to be able to say where you did wrong and where you did right, where you fell short and where you succeeded or exceeded. But you have to have
Right, and that's the part of shadow work that everybody fear. Because when they realize that they ain't no better than you, then they trying to put you down, that means that they really was putting themselves down the whole time.
Right. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I was like, you know, giving the analogy of Moesha, like in doing that healing work. You know, when we talk about the flipping, that healing work is important because all of that muck, it fucks with your decision making skills.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do the shadow work. You can't run from it.
Yeah.
Because really, you're running from the light when you run from the shadow work.
Don't nobody want to say, look, we drive up to the stop sign at the same time. Motherfucker scream out the window, stupid motherfucker. Right? We both just pulled up to the fucking stop sign. And we both stopped. Who is really the stupid motherfucker? Why do I even need to respond at that point? He just proved that he was the one who was really the stupid motherfucker.
Yeah.
He was mad because he wanted to run the stop sign, but when he seen me stopping at the stop sign, he knew he couldn't run it because it's a possibility I might run it.
Mm-hmm.
So now he got to stop. And since we both stopping, it's my fault that he had to stop when he wanted to run the stop sign. So his natural presumption is that I'm the stupid motherfucker, when he's the stupid motherfucker for being mad because he had to stop at a stop sign.
Right.
You knew it was a stop sign there before you got there,
He forgot the
motherfucker.
rules of the engagement. He wanted to ignore them. You can't ignore the rules. In nature, when you ignore the rules, there's two things: life or death. In nature, when an animal ignores the rule of the kingdom, it's a consequence. Animals in nature I love so much because they live
Hey,
life
look,
in the natural way that life is supposed to be lived.
I'm about to say some racist ass shit.
No.
This the truest shit a motherfucker could say. All you gotta do is watch these white people. He's just a little cute grizzly bear, only 400 pounds. Let me hug him. He's wild. He's never seen humans before. I know I can hug this motherfucker. Nigga, you gonna go sit your ass down somewhere?
Look.
With that 10 swords.
Yeah, bear is gonna kill your ass. No.
Hell yeah. Hey, look, that's a confirmation like a motherfucker.
That's funny. Spirit is funny. Spirit is funny. Spirit got jokes. And that's why I think sometimes we lose compassion, because Spirit got a sense of humor. And that's why we laugh at a lot of things that are painful. But we gotta reel that in, because like maybe I don't know where that started, but that lack of compassion, man, it creates so much other shit, because you laugh at somebody going through some pain and now they giving you the evil eye.
Mm-hmm. But the lack of compassion was taught to us.
Right.
It took harsh circumstances with no relief in order to make us not care what your struggle was. That means that they had to stop us from helping each other overcome the struggle to build a barrier between us.
Right.
You seen me struggling, trying to change the flat tire, and you kept going.
Right.
Right? You know what you saw. You know what you felt by keep going, and you ignored all that shit in order to not offer aid and assistance. Right? So when you see me again and you changing your flat, I remember when you drove past me.
Right. But see, the fucked up part, like you said earlier, is like when you found out that the people who did us dirty look just like us. It's like we're all mad at each other, thinking that it was each other, and really it was them. Like
The
you
whole
said, the
time.
separation, the whole
Yeah.
time, and they are banking on the fact that we'll have that prejudice and separation in our minds so deep that we'll knock each other off. Then it can release the robots.
So when you review history, look at the public display. Right? When you look at the images from parades of the UNIA and the activities of the MSTA in 1920s, you see all our faces. We all hanging out of windows and shit. We knew who we was, but we didn't know what to do about it.
Hmm.
Right? Now, when you get in the 50s and we start talking Rosa Parks, refusing to get up on the bus, marching with King, you see a sea of pale faces right in there with brown faces. When you go back and research all of the uprisings, you see that all of the ones that look like us, Gabriel Prosser, Denmark Vesey, etc., was egged on by a pale-skinned European to get their freedom back. And one of them, I think it was Gabriel Prosser, had the quartermaster general who had access to the armory, bringing him the key to the armory to arm the people to fight against the rebellion. I mean, against the invader. Then some nigga told the enemy, told on the pale face, and told on Gabriel Prosser. It's in the books. It's not a secret.
A sellout.
Yeah. Every single one of those attempts where that we were being egged to get out of this condition by pale faces, we was betrayed by melanated, woolly-haired faces. All of the ones on record. The only one that wasn't betrayed immediately was Toussaint. When they murdered him, that's when they infiltrated.
Hmm. That was a stronghold.
Right. And now they don't want to close the conjure because that means that they lose all power.
Mm-hmm.
They got to close the Haitian conjure, and Haiti keep getting hit with shit because they got an open war conjure that's over 200 years old. At the close of the age, that shit has to be closed out.
Hmm. Okay. Hmm. What can I
But
do?
there's some motherfuckers that look like us that's trying to stop everything.
Mm-hmm.
They can't stop nothing though. You know what they is. It ain't no secret no more. The secret that they had ain't no secret no more. Now they exposed to the public. Now they gotta get exposed publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them. I don't got no sympathy for them.
But what? Why? Why did they do it?
Cause they wanted to claim Earth for their own. They ain't from here.
So,
They was
okay.
a different species, similar to
No, so
us,
I know that.
from a different type of universe.
Okay, so I know that. So then when they came here, they had to take the form of
The
like
highest evolutionary
that.
organism on the planet, which
Yes.
was the melanated.
Yes. Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense. And we were peaceable people, just like in the Bible when they talk about what was it? Was it Babylon? No.
We was look,
Before
we
Babylon?
still warriors, right? But we had ran out of wars to fight
Right.
because we had got so intelligent that war was like asinine, foolish, and childish.
We had come to that
That's how it
level
evolved.
of right
Right.
consciousness.
So the golden age has to bring this back to the surface so that we know the level of potential our mind have in order to move into a golden age again.
Hmm.
Because that's where we're going. And the sun cycle brings the golden age.
Hmm.
In the Jubilee year, 2022 is the Jubilee year. It's the final closing out of all of the contracts that held people hostages and enslaved.
Hmm.
By the close of the year, there will be no more contracts that's open.
Mm-hmm.
They'll all be closed. And the only thing we're going to have to work on is getting Haiti to close that war contract.
Okay. So I had a dream a long time ago, and it was of Oya. And so I know that they're a dying breed, but it's just like um, the reason why I pitch community and unity so hard is because, like you said, they separated us and they lied to us so we could fight off each other and kill off each other. But that artificial intelligence and like that, everybody is so big on having the newest Tesla and all of these things. Like, I hate to sound so old school, but I just feel like that's their last hoorah.
Okay, so what they did, this is what make it difficult for us to face the short struggle we gonna go through. We gonna get this struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gonna get this work.
Mm-hmm. Because it has to be
Yeah, ain't no
anyway. So it's like
the level of your preparedness gonna determine how much of this work your ass gonna get.
yes, sir.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So when the system shut down, don't say we didn't tell you. Don't say you didn't have a chance to prepare, because I've been telling motherfuckers for 3 fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I laid down the structure of the fall so that motherfuckers don't step into the road and a building drop on his head. Right? This shit is over with. But in the process of it, you still got to clean up the old shit before you break out the new shit.
Right.
Because you need to know what part of the old shit has to go and what parts you can use, even if it's temporarily. Because you got to use anything that's useful.
Right.
And anything that's not useful, you discard that shit. This is why we say no more GMOs in the food,
And
right?
mm-hmm.
So they burning down the factories that making the GMO food. One of Gates' motherfucking manufacturing facilities just burned up overseas yesterday. You know, so we not watching those little events like that, like Rome on fire. You know, the time, the date, what's going on in the world politically, what's going on across the land socially, right? If you don't pay attention to that stuff, you can't see it. But if you see it, the people that's not paying attention is going to say that you don't see what you're telling them because they can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the glasses on.
Yeah.
And somebody said, don't forget to read that card. That you must have
There
pulled.
wasn't.
You
There
pulled a
wasn't no.
card.
Yeah, I have been. I have been. You know, just when like I was talking, stuff was coming out, confirming. But
now listen. Now they expect us to believe the story.
Right.
They expect us to believe this. He's walking around in the caves with a portable dialysis machine.
Facts.
A portable dialysis machine is like dragging a whole stove around with you.
Real talk.
People not paying that no attention.
And then, like, you know, shit, that nigga was a billionaire. Like, you see, not a millionaire, a billionaire. His family was rich and everything.
If you go back and do the research, the Bush family and the Bin Laden family has been in the oil business together since the 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bin Laden family, Osama Bin Laden was the boogeyman that they wanted everybody to look to when they was robbing us.
Right. Try to put it off on him.
Right. See, the corporation ended in 1999, but didn't nobody have the jurisdiction to process it. Because didn't nobody organize the chiefs on the land by public notice until I did it. That's why it was so important to learn civics, to understand how to do public notices and shit, so that you know how the oral tradition override they written shit. Because the oral tradition is our agreements on the land is how we practice our law.
Right.
Right. So my clan, we follow the laws set forth by Larry Hoover and them back in the day. Right. So now they gave us a written code to follow. But our written code has nothing to do with the government. It's tribal. Whereas on the West Coast, they got an oral tradition. The OGs have to clear it before the YGs engage in the activity.
Right.
Now, I have to be in tune with the Crips, just like I'm in tune with the folks in Chicago, to understand how the tribes are communicating so we can get the message through all the tribal networks. We're on the same page now. Time to get the imposters out.
Right. And I be seeing that shit in the West Coast and in the East Coast, even down south, you feel me, about, you know, GDs, Bloods and Crips, you feel me, peace treaties, and that shit actually working. But in Chicago, it ain't gonna never be no, like, it ain't gonna never be no peace amongst like the GDs and the BDs. It ain't like, it's different in Chicago, but it's like everywhere else they can come together.
It will be. It will be.
So, bro.
It will be.
Unfortunately,
but
Chicago
Chicago
got a dark cloud over it, and that's
right.
But
like when they find out who behind the cause of the war, it ain't even us.
Exactly, it ain't. But it's like, you're right. It ain't us, but it's like, you know, it's levels of hell. You feel me? Just like it's hierarchies of hell, like hierarchies of demons, different ranks of angels. You got different levels of hell. This earth is a fucking hell. You feel me? This continent is a different level of hell. The states now.
I think this shit heavy.
The city of Chicago that's like the lower levels of hell, G, like for real. And it's not because of us, like you said. It's because the devils that created the cities, which is a Babylon. You feel me? It's because of them.
They took over the cities. They didn't create them. Those are metropolises that's ancient. They just altered. They just altered
You're
the way
right.
that we did business on the land.
So from my understanding, you know, that's why I call it Babylon, because of Babylon is the cities that were built after colonization. So like you got
You ain't got no
colonizers,
problem. I ain't got no problem with that. But Babylon fell.
Babylon, man, bro. I don't think Babylon fell as long as the city's being built. You have city owners.
You're not
You have.
watching. Chief, you're not watching.
I really I pay it. I don't really be like nah. I'll be I'll be behind on a lot of shit,
Look,
bro.
the banks is closing. The hospitals are shutting down their electronics that affects the equipment and the IT shit. Right? You got a motherfucking receding tide that been out for goddamn 3 days in the Gulf.
Yeah.
Probably longer than that now.
hmm
That shit got to come back. The longer it's out, the worse it's gonna be when it returns. Because
I
the
would
water
say
it
like
got to go somewhere. It ain't just disappeared.
it do. I would say like okay, so like you got colonizers. Colonizers come to foreign lands, and then you have people, natural people that's live inside of those lands that take care of nature. The colonizers come through, they tear down nature, and then build their cities up. North America, this continent was a forest. We have forests and woods over here. We didn't have jungles. You feel me?
Look,
But it was all nature. The colonizer come through, tear down nature, and build their cities up. Along with their cities, they bring systems, which is religion, slave system, which is the modern day work system. They bring all nationality, because the colonizers put nationality on not you already know, bro. Put nationalities on our indigenous ancestors. But this what I'm saying, like Babylon's is anything that's not dealing with the natural people and in the natural order of life. There's no way we should be working jobs. There's no way there's only 13 families that hold all the wealth, and we have poor people. Like mental illness don't exist in nature. Like indigenous people don't have mental illness problems. Poverty don't exist in nature. You feel me? You know, there may be a class ranking system, but it's like I'm talking about the indigenous people that's the closest to nature. You know how close they is to nature if they don't speak in language and they still speaking in sounds and clicks. These are like natural people. Like they will be the closest to Big Mama if anything. So it's like since we got cities that's built, you feel me, and we have city owner. A city owner is a Nimrod. You want to become a city
we
owner?
just took the look. All of those charters have been rescinded because they was fraudulent to begin with. They
Mm,
was predicated up on a constructed fraud. The
okay.
argument of we the people, the indigenous tribes across the land, according to the Iroquois Constitution and the birthright to the land. Because they never validated none of their contracts, they never upheld any of their treaties, non-performance closed them out.
Exactly.
Now, right now, what we looking at, all of the banks folding up, Wall Street about to crash, the belly about to fall out of the fraudulent ass mortgage market. Now the people got to be protected.
Hey, hold
That's
on. You can't skim past that. You gotta backtrack. You say the fraudulent ass mortgage scams. That's a fact because it takes 30 days to build a house that we gotta pay a mortgage on for 30 years. If that ain't the biggest scam, like this shit, this shit crazy.
look.
It takes
This
30
is
days
what
to
you don't
build a
know about the
12 months.
mortgage. This is where the fraud came in. When you go in to get a mortgage, you're not getting a mortgage on the house. You sign a piece of paper at closing. The house is paid for with your signature. When you took the signature out and paid off the house with your signature,
Mm-hmm.
according to the bankruptcy, it automatically gave you possession of the house right then and there. But here's what happened. They gave you another piece of paper where you agreed to pay if they take out a loan in your name for the value of the house. So they make you pay their loan back with interest to them, and they get all of that scot free.
Hey, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a fucking scam if it ain't. Hey, they clever as fuck, Joe. That's why I'm saying, like these hey, it's deep, man. Make it
All of it was
rain.
frauds. This is what it's already been proven.
Yeah.
And this what I'm telling you. Now we're seeing the manifestation of the chiefs across the land calling the markets in, basically.
Mm.
You see how the Pope called all the Vatican money back?
Mm-hmm.
We called back all of the contracts they be fought on, put the organic people, even though we didn't sign them. They alleged we signed them. So
Mm.
because they never performed their part of the treaty, because we were never supposed to figure out we was already here.
Right.
So they never honored any of the treaties. So
Right.
the
Exactly.
non-performance gave us the right to serve the eviction to close the de facto corporation that was an interim government established under George Washington with the Crown of England, in order to establish a interim government until we was able to restore the land after the war. But nobody never told us. They kept that shit a secret. And then
Right.
they took a move. They took the move with telling us we was from Africa. They told us we wasn't POWs, that we were
Mm-hmm.
slaves.
Exactly.
Right? So now we thinking that we got to tie to Africa, but the people over in Africa said, what the fuck you talking about? You from over there.
Right. Exactly.
So when Garvey came along with the Pan-Africanism and make us make these what we call confraternity allegiances.
Mm.
This is forming bonds and connection by speaking to people all around the world. Instead of just speaking to the people here that's telling us bald-faced lies like we came over on slave ships.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else thinking Pan-Africanism is saying we all came from Africa. That's bullshit.
They don't even know who the pan god was. You feel me?
Well,
And that's a whole
in,
nother
in the
topic.
in the political lingo, Pan-Africanism or pan anything before political idea means that it's an idea that covers the globe. And it's short for Pangea, when the world was one.
You ever heard of the god, the ancient god Pan?
Yeah, the
Pan.
flute god with the horn flute god with the goat legs.
The devil. You feel me? The devil. This should be crazy, Joe. But hey, Mr. Make It Rain, marhaban, that's my Muslim brother. Marhaban bika. So what's the situation with Philly and how you see it? Uh Philly definitely got a dark cloud over it.
They put a curse
It's
on Philly. The settlers put a curse on Philly.
you
That's
can
why
see it.
that's when they moved the capital. Because Philly was our capital.
Man, Philly,
So
hey, it's going. That's like they like Chicago out there. You feel me? It's on like it's something. It's like you can just look at that city. It's a dark cloud over it. You can barely see the stars in Chicago.
that's
So
that's the innocent blood.
that's the innocent blood. Mm,
That shit crying for redemption. It's time to pay up.
mm,
Philly right now, they don't realize it, but when they see the leadership step out front, it's gonna click. Because they gonna
hmm
tell them we've been turned against each other by a foreign invader.
You think
Pump
that's
the
gonna
brakes
matter?
for a minute before you try to kill your brother. Listen to what I'm telling you.
You think that's gonna matter though, bro? I think it's deeper than that though, Ron. Because from my understanding, from what I be seeing in life, bro. Like, you feel me? I'm 33, so like in the 90s, you feel weed and liquor. You feel me? Alcohol, even in the early 2000s. Now you got motherfucking pharmaceuticals. Once the higher the elites got the youth hooked on pharmaceuticals such as Xanax, Percocets, Lean. Once that shit starting to be like popping, Joe, that's when you see more treacherous acts of violence. More innocent people getting killed is because of the drugs. And that's why I say the drug dealers are sorcerers. You feel me? Because a spell was
Pharmakeia means sorcery.
exact point blank period. And then in ancient times, a curse was used to cause affliction through a disease or a virus. That's why a curse has cures. The same word, just the letters is scrambled. But a spell was caused through addiction, drugs or addiction. Spells are meant to control people. Curses are meant to cause affliction through disease and virus. Spells, drugs, and addiction. So it's like, that's why I say like drug dealers are like when I see these dope fiends walking around, this motherfuckers nodding off and mid walk. I already know somebody put a root on them. Somebody put it's somebody in this community doing voodoo. You feel
Look,
me? Witches,
look,
cause
listen.
like crack it. Go ahead, bro.
That's a lot of times we taught in the church to cast a spell on ourselves.
In modern
So
times, we say the
when you see
spell
the
is a
people like
speller.
that, right? And a lot of times you see people like that, the ego, who they perceive they are, they put a spell on them to keep them from being a total tyrant. So they
Mm,
use those drugs as the way to maintain that control of that beast.
definitely. And it's
That's
making
why they.
niggas
That's why they
docile.
took. Look. That's why they took all the more militant motherfuckers off heroin and gave
And
them
these
crack.
and look how they dressing now. You feel me? These niggas wearing skinny jeans with some big ass boots, big ass shoes on. You feel me? With skinny jeans, and it's like, gee, you can tell like the drugs that people doing now is demasculating men. You feel me? It's taking away their they testosterone and it's putting more estrogen in them. And you can tell by the
But that's
mentality of
cultural.
these
That's
niggas.
cultural, and then they also feeding a lot of estrogen in the water, right?
Yep.
They got estrogen in the water. They got estrogen in the cows and make them produce more milk, right? So you're getting overloaded with estrogen. Then if you're feeding any soy products to a boy, you increase the spike in estrogen. And any bodybuilder tell you that if you're going to be using a steroid, which is a testosterone booster, that you have to have a estrogen blocker in order to not the testosterone not to turn into estrogen, because the estrogen causes in high doses it causes the organs to start to deteriorate, right?
Mm.
Um,
I think somebody got a question for you. They say, is Enlil still locked away?
and Leo not on Earth, and Leo been gone. Yeah, they just to say grow titties. They call that bitch tent in the workout world. And then they're using those steroids, and they also give them acne from hell. But you gotta have an estrogen blocker or them steroids to tear your organs up. Let me see. I ain't got no room to look down on nobody. I've been at the bottom my whole life. You know.
Let me see. Yeah, we got more questions. Let me see. Prince ass funny as hell. Oh damn shit. He deleted. Oh damn. Let me try to pull it up.
Look, this is a known. Uh, if you know a shaman, okay, if Anu was to return, would you? No, Anu don't give two shits what we do on Earth, long as it don't affect Nibiru. The agreement that the Earth made with Nibiru was every 3,600 years they get a quantity of gold to sustain the atmosphere, and they'll give us whatever new technologies that they encounter in return for that. And all of Inky and Inlip kids, Marduk, they all have to leave. They can't stay here. Inky kids was worked in harmony with the earth, but Enlil and his kids, with all of this shit you see going on now to fuck us over, they had to leave. Inky, about a year ago, Inky came with a